You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to The Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, February 10th show. It is a great day to talk a little bit about community. And that's part of the reason why I'm here and why the show exists. It's really about having a better quality of life for you and your family. And part of that is giving back to your family community. So in hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but I'm here to chat or to bring anything to the show that you'd like to hear. Call at 1-855-400-1150, or you can go online to themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, they're going to be here with me for the entire show. I have Jennifer Schmidt and Adina Gillett with Assistance League Eastside, providing new clothes to kids in need, giving comfort during a time of vulnerability, rebuilding lives affected by domestic violence, and helping families transition to independence. And I'm so happy to have both of you here. I appreciate you coming into studio and sharing what you're doing for our community with my listeners. So thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks for the opportunity.
And a little bit about Jennifer and Adina. Jennifer Schmidt is current co-chair of Operations School Bell, past president 2016-2017. Philanthropic Vice President 2013 through 2016, and Assistance League of the Eastside member since 2011. Adina is a newer member who can give us the perspective of someone who has just started with the Assistance League in Eastside. She works with their donor development group, and she's a great speaker, ambassador for their organization. So thank you again, you guys. And it is a special show. Normally I bring in experts in all areas of financing, which is really important to be able to connect my listeners with the best of the best. But it's nice to kind of go off a little bit and talk about the community, because I think it's important to our success in our family life and in our careers to know options and what are available for community. And what you guys are doing is just so amazing. I'm going to try to not tear up here because it's very close to home for me, and to be able to talk with people that are giving so much time back to their community. So making a difference in the community. Can you share the goal and mission of Assistance Legacy in League Eastside?
Tina, that was a great introduction, actually. You really explained a lot of what we do really well. And as you know better than most people that the housing market is crazy in Seattle and on the East Side. And that also means that there are a lot more homeless folks here than ever before, and the problem is growing, and families are financially stressed. So it's a timely issue, and what we do, you have to support your nonprofits now because they are stressed out, and so I'm so glad that we're on to talk about what we do at Assistance League of the Eastside. We serve Eastside children facing hardship and violence. Mm-hmm. We are an all-volunteer nonprofit organization, which is a little bit different. We have no paid staff. So we run the nonprofit, basically. We've been on the Eastside for over 28 years, and we are a little unique among nonprofits. All of our philanthropic programs address the self-esteem of the participants, which is really key, and it helps as a way to transition from that dependence to independence. So we love what we do, and I think we're really making an impact on the East Side.
No doubt, Jennifer, that you are. So, Adina, how big is Assistance League of Eastside?
We have a volunteer membership base of about 110 active members that run the nonprofit here on the East Side, but we're actually supported by a nationwide organization that started in 1935. So because we're a member of that organization, we get training in nonprofit best practices, and it really provides a great structure that's very beneficial to us as a satellite operation of that national organization. And it's really a great size here that we work together. We're small enough where we're a tight-knit group where we know each other, we can work hard and work well together, but we're large enough that we are big enough to make an impact on our community here.
So it's nice that you have a community within the community for the Assistance League of Eastside and have that support to be able to really draw from, which is great.
Exactly.
So, Jennifer, what areas on the East Side do you cover?
So it is mostly the East Side: Redmond, Bellevue, Sammamish, Kirkland, Duval, parts of Bothell. Different programs cover different areas of the East Side. For example, with Operation School Bell, we cover the Lake Washington, Bellevue, and North Shore school districts. But we do have one statewide program, which is assault survivor kits, and we're in 44 hospitals across the state with that one, just because the need is so huge. And we'll talk more about that later, that program.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people that might be listening, the idea of tragedy of this level being on the East Side, you kind of think that it's not theirs. And so it's nice to see an organization that is focused because it's everywhere.
Right.
Right.
And their poverty is like we were talking about the real estate situation,
yes,
and more people becoming homeless. And there is a poverty migration from the more dense urban areas out to the suburban areas, and and the nonprofits are really trying to scale up their response and serve these people, but it's hard because they're sort of caught off guard, and there's more need than we can address.
Yeah.
So we really need support from the community to help us get the job done and to serve these people and support them. And a lot of the people are out in the suburbs. They're in pockets, and they have a harder time reaching services. So it's a special challenge when you're talking about suburban areas, but it's there, and it's like and then a lot of times it's hidden.
Yeah.
So, but it's there.
And you would think in the financial meltdown it would be a lot harder to raise money for nonprofit organizations, but, being in this space a little, not to the extent that the both of you are, there's actually challenges that are going on, right now in bigger. Why do you think that is in raising funds?
Well, I think a lot of the nonprofits, I think they're just scrambling. They have limited resources,
yes,
and they're trying to scale up their operations so that they can handle the need out there on the East Side,
yeah,
and also in Seattle. And there's money there. Obviously, there's money there, but it is a challenge to scale up,
to keep up with the demand,
and to really reach the donors and the people who are potential sponsors. It's a challenge, and a lot of folks who are in the nonprofit space did not want to do that work to be PR people or whatever. So we really need that community engagement. There's such an opportunity there for folks with specialized skills, our nonprofit and other nonprofits, people with tech skills and marketing skills, social media. There's a real need for that out there, and that way we can really provide an opportunity for community members who want to give back, and for businesses who want to give back, to do great work. And there's that opportunity is there, but it's just scaling up. That problem of scaling up and having enough people and enough time.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Jennifer, because it's a great call to action for listeners, because I think sometimes people that have not really got involved in the community, just because life is life, and sometimes actually stepping out of life to give back, it takes a little bit of opening that opportunity to understand that they really can do something. And so there's need in all areas. So wherever your expertise is, most likely the organization can use that. So where would you direct them to get more information to be able to volunteer?
So it's great because we have so many ways, flexible ways for folks to volunteer. And the first thing I always tell people is go visit our website because everything's there. It's aleastside.org, aleastside.org. And, if you have more time during the day and you're really motivated and want to find out more about the nonprofit world and maybe want to make some connections with other women and learn some new skills, you can become a member. And we have day and evening opportunities, very flexible, large or small commitment, that sort of thing. And you can learn a lot of new skills as a member. And then we also have community volunteers who come in and can help with their specialized skills like we were talking about. And then also, like, at events like Operation School Bell, they can come and see firsthand the joy on these kids' faces when they get to pick out their own new clothes. So that can be a really impactful and meaningful experience, and we offer that to community members as well. We always welcome sponsorships for our events that help underwrite those events. Attend an event. We have 2 events a year. We have a home show on the first Friday of December every year. And then we also, coming up on April 20th, we are going to have a fashion show.
So talk a little bit about the fashion show before we take it to break, Jennifer.
Sure. The Gillet Group, which is a real estate professional group, they're our sponsors for that. And we're very grateful for their support. And it's April 20th. It is at the Marriott in Redmond, 11 to 2. We're looking forward to it. And a lot of the vendors are from Redmond Town Center, White House Black Market, Gap, Chico's. So we're really looking forward to it. We've been doing the fashion shows for years, and so I think we're pretty good at it. And it's going to be a fun event. Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, I want you to stick around because we're going to stay right here where we're at with my guest for the entire show. So coming up in the Money Hour, building confidence, restoring dignity, finding strength, and creating hope. Jennifer Schmidt and Adina Gillett with Assistance League Eastside right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to The Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, February 10th show. I'm here to help you build a strong financial blueprint 1 week and 1 show at a time. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you're listening to a rebroadcast. But if you'd like to talk with the guests I have in studio, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio, I have Jennifer Schmidt and Adina Gillett with Assistance League Eastside, providing new clothes to kids in need, giving comfort during the time of vulnerability, rebuilding lives affected by domestic violence, and helping families transition in independence. So we've been talking a little bit about the organization and areas that you cover. Adina, tell me about your largest program, Operation School Bell.
Yeah, as you said, that is our largest program. And financial hardship can affect any family. And what this program does is it helps students, kids in need right here in our community by holding shopping events at Fred Meyer and inviting kids who have been pre-selected by their school counselors as kids most at risk and most in need of clothes. And we invite these kids and they come with their parents to have shopping events.
Wow.
And it's, for many or most of them, the first new clothes they'll ever have. And we participate with 3 school districts, Bellevue, Lake Washington, and North Shore. And we have really strong relationships with the school counselors there because they are they're the eyes on the ground. They know the kids. And they are the ones who decide which kids get to come over and have these events. And all of the clothes that they get to buy are just funded by the work that we've done, by the Assistance League of the Eastside has done throughout the year.
Wow.
And it's so important, obviously, because every kid should have clothes.
Yes.
But even beyond that, it's such an important part of a kid's self-esteem and their experience at school. And we really believe when a kid does not feel good about themselves, when they're embarrassed to go to school, they're likely not to go. Or they might even if they're there, they might not even be fully concentrating on their work, because we all know how tough school can be socially and the pressures that exist there. So we really consider a kid's self-esteem fundamental to their education experience.
Yeah, and without it, it just compounds and things can get really bad. I would imagine just, in the Eastside School District, that's got to be a whole nother level. If you don't have money to hardly survive, going to school with majority of kids that have a lot of money adds even a higher dynamic for that. So great program. And you said that goes on. That's how often do you run that program?
The program happens twice a year in October and in March. And the bigger event is in October, that back to school time, and it runs for 3 weeks. So every day for 3 weeks, we staff this event at Fred Meyer, at 3 different Fred Meyers, Kirkland, Redmond, and Bellevue. Right, thank you. And then in March, the event is smaller. We just have 3 nights in March. But it's a huge event. And we've served... Let's see, I have a number here to actually give you. This last fiscal year, we served 3,832 kids.
Oh, my gosh. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And what of maybe in a motivation as well to really get, connected on a high level in the school, really being able to help these children transition and, to really get into a better space.
Absolutely.
So,
it's really an honor for us as volunteers to watch these kids be so excited to actually go back to school.
So do you have repeat kids, or is it a once, do kids come back through, or it's a one time?
One time thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we try not to have kids that come twice a year.
Okay.
There is occasionally a kid that will have a huge growth spurt and definitely need more clothes in the last half of the year. But I mean, we were talking about opportunities for community engagement, and this is a wonderful opportunity. We have 72 schools that we serve through this program, 19 shopping nights in the fall and 2 in the spring. And you can imagine, for 100 members to put that together and staff that and make sure it runs really, really smoothly. It's really difficult without that community involvement. So this is just a wonderful opportunity for the community to one and done, just come on in and see the kids with the parents and just, experience the joy that they have with a new T-shirt or a new dress, see a little girl twirling around in her new dress.
Wow.
It's a wonderful experience.
So again, a call to action, wherever your strengths are and your passion are in what you're good at, to be able to share that, to put on such an amazing event. And I will say from experience that, once you get involved for the first time, it kind of takes you over from there. And that really it's just having that opportunity to experience that magic once. And I'm sure that both of you, and since we're on that, I would love to ask both of you, Adina, where was your why behind getting involved to the level that you are with the organization?
Well, it really was from one of our other programs that really convinced me to come in, which one of them we haven't, Jennifer touched on it a little bit, our Assault Survivor Kids program.
Okay.
That is what really affected me personally the most when I heard about what that was. And we can talk about it now if you...
Yes, please.
It's a program that we have. There are, for victims of sexual assault and domestic violence, when these victims are brought to hospitals, they are subjected to forensic exams for evidence. And most of the time, their clothes are kept as part of this evidence effort. And a lot of these survivors of sexual assault, suffering the worst indignity possibly of their lives, are sent home in scrubs and no underwear, often on public transport.
Wow.
They might not have anybody picking them up. And what we do is we assemble what we like to call dignity kits that have hygiene products and sweatshirts and sweatpants and things that these survivors can put together to at least have some comfort in this horrible time. And we deliver these kits to 44 hospitals around the state.
Wow.
And it's and unfortunately with this, incredible rise of sex trafficking and things like that, these kits come in all sizes, kid sizes, and it affects men and women both.
I have never heard of an organization that has a service like that. Are you guys the only one that provides that?
I think we are actually the largest in the United States with this type of program.
Okay.
Assistance League, the National Assistance League, many of them have this program, Assault Survivor Kits program, and we are the largest in the country with 44 hospitals. Michigan has one that's similar. I think they have 41 hospitals. So, but it's really unique. And what a lot of people don't understand is if you're thinking about the survivor and you're thinking about what their night is like or their day after an assault, usually, we're talking about sexual assault mostly. Yep. And they have maybe been to more than one hospital because not every hospital has a forensic nurse on staff.
Okay.
The exam itself can take 4 hours. That blew me away. Yeah. I didn't know that was the case. And because their body is they're taking evidence on the body, and it's very detailed work. Of course. But it can be traumatic also, another trauma. So really their first experience of hope and comfort may be our kit. Yes. And it has a card in it with all of our signatures on the card. And we have an amazing video on our website. Another reason to visit the website of a survivor that we've worked with for a couple of years who reached out to us and said, what can I do? I received a kit. I'm a young woman who just graduated from college, and this kit meant so much to me because it was the first comfort that I had during that night. She was actually unconscious when she came to the hospital. Wow. So, and we've met with her and worked with her, and she agreed to do a video. And the video is on our website. And bring your Kleenex with you if you do watch the video, because it's amazing how strong she is. But these are the people that we support with this program. We don't have a lot of obviously we don't have usually any interaction with these folks. We don't see them face to face, but we hear from the forensic nurses what a huge impact this makes. And it's a unique program, and it's a way, you hear a lot about Me Too and these movements, and it's happening out there. We had a 20% increase over the last year. So it's increasing, and I'm so glad that we can offer this to beautiful people in our state.
So Jennifer, I asked Adina her why and how I've got her so involved in the organization. What about you?
Well, I really I had a moment at one of the I had a time in my life where I was looking for something new. My kids were getting older, didn't need me as much, and I had that social justice background of really wanting to reach out to the community and do something and make an impact. And so I went to a meeting, and the first a welcome coffee, and I heard that some kids don't ever have their own toothbrush. They've had kids who said they had to share a toothbrush with their sibling, and I don't know, that sort of stuck with me, and I'm like, I don't care about anything else. I love these philanthropic programs, and I really want to make a difference. And I feel like I have made a difference. And, just like the benefit too is I've learned so much and new skills, public speaking.
You're doing so well.
Some public speaking, and, and made wonderful friends. Yeah. So it's just been a real wonderful experience for me.
Well, we were talking before the show started offline a little bit about, majority, almost anybody that you talk to that works closely in any nonprofit organization, they'll all say that they feel that they took much more out of it than what they feel they've given back. And I just think that's so true, and such a blessing of, being able to share and receive. And most of the time, majority of the time, you're going to share having no idea of what you're going to to be receiving until that moment hits. So thank you, both of you, for sharing that. So stories about people that you've served, before we go to our next commercial break. I'd like to end with a story, and then we'll bring another story as we're coming back in. My listeners love stories. Adina?
I was just thinking about when I was volunteering at Operation School Bell last year, and one of the volunteer jobs that we can do is we help the families keep count of their budget.
Okay.
Because kids K through 5 have $100 to spend, and kids 6 through 12 have $150. And while that doesn't sound like too much, Fred Meyer puts out every discount, every special rate that they possibly have, and that money goes far. So a lot of these kids end up with a new wardrobe for the entire year.
Uh-huh.
But the kids, most of them have never had a shopping experience before. And I was standing there with my little handheld register thing that helps keep track of their purchases.
Okay.
And a little girl came up. She was probably in 3rd grade, and she was just clutching this T-shirt with a unicorn on it. And she just had tears in her eyes.
Oh my God.
And she handed it to me to make a final calculation. And I looked at her and nodded, "You can have this." And she just cried because it was just the one thing she wanted so badly. And that really affected me.
Yeah. Well, and we all know that you can take it for granted so many things. And I think it's really a blessing for the individuals that are receiving the gift that your organization is providing because of those moments, because I bet that she's never going to forget that moment either. You didn't, but she will as well, to experience that for whatever that meant for her. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. On that note, coming up next to the Money Hour, building confidence, restoring dignity, finding strength, and creating hope. Jennifer Schmidt and Adina Gillett with Assistance League Eastside right here at 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, February 10th show. I bring into studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market on everything regarding money. Today's a special show. It's all about community and how to give back, an amazing organization representation here today. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online to themoneyhour.com for connecting with my guest or any information that you would like to see come into the show. And in studio right now, Jennifer Schmidt and Adina Gillett with the Assistance League Eastside, providing new clothes to kids in need, giving comfort during the time of vulnerability, rebuilding lives affecting domestic violence, and helping families transition to independence. And before I took it to commercial break, Adina shared a story of one of the children that got to benefit from a shopping spree, never experiencing that moment, and what a moment it was for her as well as for you, Adina, being able to see that engagement and that response. Jennifer, what about for you, a story that you can share with my listeners?
Yeah, each one of our volunteers has a story.
Every
night we have stories. And my personal story, the one that really was a tearjerker for me, was I was working at the checkout, watching the kids, bagging the kids' clothes up, and there was a really small little guy with a hat, a baseball hat on, and I thought, wow, he doesn't even look like he's in kindergarten. I don't know, because we serve K through 12.
Okay.
So I don't even know if he qualifies to be
there.
Yeah. And so he actually ended up taking off his hat, and he didn't have any hair. The mom immediately said, without this program, we would not be able to do anything for him in terms of clothes for school or a lot of things. What happens with a lot of families who are stressed by money and is the school clothes are the last low on the totem pole.
Yep.
So, and she said with the healthcare costs for their son having cancer, she did mention that he had cancer, and they just wouldn't be able to provide this for him.
Wow.
And he was overjoyed. He got a couple more hats in with his clothes, and I really had a hard time keeping it together, bagging his clothes up.
Yeah.
So it was, it just lets you know that, even if you're in a fairly stable situation, if you're, healthcare is an issue. And
Yes.
For some of these families, there's a catastrophic health event, either mom, dad, kid, and that is a game changer.
Yes.
And then they find themselves at Operation School Bell, and they're so glad to have it.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful story. Well, and beautiful and sad at the same time. But I shared before we came in as well, I really do believe that life throws us tragedy so we can share a story of triumph on the other side. And when you've gone through such a traumatic tragedy, the story and the gift that you have to share on the other side, it's just being able to fight through that tragedy to make it on the other side, and having the support that you guys are able to provide with the organization helps in that fight to make it through that. So, and I'd imagine all of them are going to be exactly where you guys are at as they grow into adults because of the appreciation of what was given to them. So just love that. Jennifer, you also have a program for homeless and domestic violence survivors. Can you talk a little bit about that one?
Well, we, there's a huge link between homelessness and domestic violence.
Yeah.
Actually, multiple studies have come out examining the causes of homelessness and with children and women, and more than 80% of the women in a lot of these studies had experienced domestic violence, homeless women. So there's a huge link between the two. Mm-hmm. And so we realized that there was a need out there, and we have two programs. One is a homeless program, and that's the newer program, and then we have the domestic violence program, Starting Over Support, which we've had for a while. And they're very similar because the participants are similar. They're leaving. They don't have a lot of possessions. In the case of domestic violence, they're leaving in the middle of the night with kids. And if they bring anything, they bring the school backpack and nothing else. So we provide baskets for folks who are in transitional housing or shelter.
Okay.
And we work with other agencies to provide that for them. And they're filled with 80 items, which are, just basic items to just start their lives out. New towels, laundry detergent, planners for their day. A lot of them, especially participants who are in transitional housing, have counseling, and a lot of that counseling involves executive functioning skills and planning their day and getting them ready for to not be in transitional housing.
Yes.
So that piece is really important, just to know that they have new things that they can start their life out with. And it really makes a huge difference. And we also, a lot of these families have not had opportunities to celebrate very much in their lives. They've just been stressed out and feeling like they're in danger all the time. So what we do is we provide social activities and holiday events for them, just so that they can feel normal.
Yes.
And I think it just makes a big difference for them, and it helps with a sense of community and that they feel supported. I have a story from a holiday party that we had with we have every year with LifeWire. We help with their holiday party, and the kids come in with the kids. With the parents, and I do the face painting every year. And these kids are amazing. And, it's women from all walks of life.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about domestic violence, is it affects people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
And the kids are just very sweet. And we've gotten hugs. And they just, a woman, usually people don't talk about their experience at that party. But I did have a woman come up to me and just say, you know, we are traveling all the way. We just got here from Texas. I had to leave our home in Texas to get away from my husband, who's the abuser, and I'm here with my young son. I don't know anyone, and I'm just really stressed out and sad.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for having this party for us.
Wow.
And another story is one of the LifeWire participants had a person who they were trying to get to go to Olympia to lobby for LifeWire and for domestic abuse issues. And they'd worked for years with her saying, come on, your story's so great. You need to tell your story. It'll make such a difference. And she said that after the holiday party, she just felt like she could do it because she was being treated like a human being and like she was worth it.
Yes.
You know, and I think you can minimize some of this stuff like clothes for kids or you know, like a holiday party or something. We might not think anything of that, but for somebody in this position, it makes a huge difference. It's a self-esteem boost.
Yes. And so again, if you're listening right now, if you can just hear the passion behind Jennifer and Adina and the work that they're doing, just an opportunity to be involved in this and to be able to experience and connect on such a deep level with people that really need that connection, and you need their connection as well. And it just reminds me, you're talking about the face painting, and I want to chime into what you just said, because one of my experiences with working with homeless women, I was actually asked to sit across a table to be a life coach. I'm not a life coach. I do mortgages, but I do have a keynote and I have a story that I share. And so I said, well, yes, whatever you need me for. So they had a sign-in sheet. They had a hairdresser doing hair. They had nail painting, and they had me to be a life coach. And then they had a sign-in sheet that these women would come up off the street to come in and sign for. And I had one woman that had signed my sheet to talk about for life coaching. And I was sitting across the table from her, and it was so awkward to talk about. Just the fact that she'd signed for life coaching was just the environment for it. So that experience right there, and nobody else had signed up for it. I went to look at the sign-in sheets, and the nail painting was off the chart. There was not enough nail painters that was there. And so I went to the gal that was organizing all of the volunteers. I said, you know, I'd really, really love to do talking with women in spirit of life coaching while painting their nails, because and she's like, oh yeah, whatever. She's got so much stuff going on, whatever you want to do. So ever since, I paint nails with homeless women. So when you talk about the face painting, and it's not, you would think that they don't need this, and why would they even want this? They have so much stress and so much trauma and tragedy going on in their lives. Because to get away from that, and just what you said, to be normal. And so I had to put that in there, because there are so many things that are so small that you can do and be a part of. And it's so important for them to get that normalcy and to really feel pampered and feel special. And the end of that story was when the conversations that I'm able to have with these women, when I'm sitting across knee to knee, holding their hands, and then having the little dryers that they can dry their nails. So all the women come around and they're drying their nails while the other ones are waiting. And so there's a little conversation of community around nail painting. It's just a beautiful thing. So,
wonderful.
Yeah. So let's talk. Now we've done a little warm and fuzzy. Hopefully we've been able to connect with the listeners, that they see what a gift it is to participate, and what a gift to them to be able to have an honor to do that. Let's talk about the fundraising portion, because I know there's a lot of people that may not have the time. They've got busy lives and things that are going on, but they have the resources of money to be able to assist. So we've talked a little bit about the fundraiser organizations that you do, but since we're in the last segment, it was in the first, can we do a reminder of what those fundraisers are first?
Yeah.
So, Adina?
As Jennifer said before, first and foremost, go to our website. There's so much information there, and that, again, is aleastside.org. And there you can see a lot of information about our special events. And to name those again, we have 2 special events a year. We have our holiday event, the holiday home tour, usually at the very beginning of December. And then we have our spring event, which is coming up in this April 20th, our spring luncheon, the fashion show that Jennifer talked about. You can see more information about that. And for the holiday home tour, you can buy tickets. You can go, and it's a great time. You see these beautiful houses that have been donated by families to be decorated, and all of the proceeds go to these programs. It's really fun, and it's a great way to kick in that holiday spirit.
Yes.
And as far as the spring event, we can take sponsorships to help underwrite the event. That's another way to get involved. Of course, to attend the event. There are other ways to volunteer. As we've said, you can volunteer with Operation School Bell. And we always have a need for skills. We have a need for people to donate skills like maybe web design or accounting, things like that. It's pretty endless. Grant writing. There's a lot of ways people can donate their talent. And I also wanted to say, and just to piggyback on what you said about how giving a little can mean so much.
Yes.
I think there's a barrier to entry for a lot of folks who want to help but don't know how, or don't feel like, well, I'm not really, I don't have a special skill. There's nothing I can really do. And the small things are huge. You don't need any special skills to volunteer at Operation School Bell. You don't need to know how to do anything. You just get very simple training to help do some, budgeting, things like that, or fold clothes. And the impact is enormous. And of course, we are always very appreciative of any donations that we can get and memberships. We're also always looking for new members to join the organization.
And talk again about what the membership looks like.
We always start that process. There's a membership informational type coffee that people can attend and learn about these programs specifically. And truly, and I can speak from my personal experience, the membership is what you make of it. You can work as little or as much as you like. There's an endless amount of opportunity to work, and it's also still extremely appreciated if you have 2 hours a month to give. We have monthly chapter meetings, which are really fun because we all get together and talk about our successes and things we want to work on. And it's just a very passionate group of people.
Wonderful. So we're wrapping our time up here. I've got a couple minutes, and I'd like to wrap up the time with both of you. Just anything that you want to leave my listeners with before we end the show today. Jennifer?
Well, I just, we're such a great bet. Assistance League is a wonderful bet in terms of like if you're donating, if you're thinking of donating to us or being a member, we are extremely well-run organization. Because we're all volunteer, our return to the community is very high compared to other nonprofits. So we're very fiscally responsible, and it's just a great way as a community member or as a business to become a part of something really hopeful and to make an impact and to show your customers that you care. And I think it's just a wonderful way in. And there aren't a lot of barriers, like Adina was saying, and you can, it does really give back more than you. It's like a lot of volunteer opportunities. You are getting more out of it than you give. So it's made a huge impact on my life and made it so much better. Actually.
Wonderful, Jennifer. Adina, how about for you as we wrap up our time together?
I would echo what Jennifer has said, that ultimately it really is about community. And I think personally, community has been harder to find recently, particularly as a lot of us have transitioned to digital communities. And there's nothing like face-to-face and hands-on. And this is a really spectacular way to get back to that.
Well, and you become who you associate with, and associating with people that are giving back at the level that you guys are. It's just wonderful. So thank you again, both of you, for coming into studio and sharing with my listeners. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks, Tina.
And this is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. I'll be here, same place, same time next weekend, right here on 1150 AM KKNW.